Proper storage is vital to successful establishment. Always store seed spray in an air-conditioned room or a room where the humidity is low and temperatures are cool. Always sow seed spray seed within 45 to 60 days of receiving it. Whether establishing or renovating existing turf, begin with a firm soil surface that is relatively free of debris. If renovating existing turf, apply a non-selective herbicide to kill the existing turf, then rake the soil to remove excess matter and create a smooth surface. Eliminate Bermuda grass with fumigation, since non-selective herbicides may not completely kill all of the vegetative tissue. For best performance, till the soil to a depth of 2 to 3 inches to provide a lodging place for good soil-to-seed contact.
If I was to do the seeding process again, they smoothed the fairways and surface out. It was almost like ready for sprigs. If I was to do it again, I'd almost gill rake it and leave little ridge rows, just because we did have some of the seed move on some of the areas. I'm pretty sure if you gill raked it and left little ridge rows in it, that the seed would establish in those, and then it would cover from ridge row to ridge row.
Coating grass seed, I think, helps for basically it's the germination. So if you go into areas on your field that you have drier spots and you don't get great germination, I think the Zeba and the coating will help aid in that. So it's really a great insurance policy for anyone that's going to be planting. It just protects the seed. It stops the seed from moving, I think, and it makes it a little bit bigger of a seed so you can see it too.
After seeding, lightly rake and then gently roll the surface to work the seed into the soil even more. You can also use mulch or turf blankets to provide a good cover for establishment of seed spray.
Around the green surrounds and bunker surrounds, where we used a Futura matting, we went at 10 pounds or 2 pounds per thousand, and everywhere else we went out at 1 pound.
Seed uncoated seed spray at a rate of 0.75 to 1.25 pounds per 1,000 square feet. Seed Zeba coated seed spray at a rate of 1 to 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet.
I prefer using the coated seed, mainly just because it kind of puts it down there and you can see the color. You know that it's been covered fully, that there's not going to be very large areas without seed, and also that it'll kind of stick a little better onto the ground. Where if we were to get a rain or if we were to get some sort of irrigation problem, mainline pop-up or something, that it wouldn't just wipe out a whole big part.
The best time to seed is late spring through midsummer. Fall plantings are not recommended, except in very warm, year-round climates. The ideal germination temperatures are 80 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit or 27 to 35 degrees centigrade. Although seashore paspalum is known for its tolerance to salt, it is essential to establish it with fresh potable water. Less than 2,000 parts per million total dissolved salts is strongly recommended. Irrigate lightly and frequently with fresh water to keep the seed bed continually moist for the first 14 days after planting. This may include a range of 6 to 7 5-minute irrigation events per day, depending upon weather factors such as temperature, wind, and cloud cover. Seed spray typically will germinate 21 days or sooner with optimum soil temperatures of 80 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit or 27 to 35 degrees centigrade, and establish in 60 days.
To establish, it all depends what you do. Depends, how much fertilizer you put in, things like that, but usually in 60 days, we already cover it. Not saying ready for playing probably, but if you're really working toward that, you can get a full cover in 60 days.
And this field came in really fast actually when we first planted it late last year, and it came in within 2 months. We had full coverage.
The success of any turfgrass establishment depends upon proper fertilization. We strongly recommend soil testing and water analysis to determine the correct nutrition. Apply fertilizer applications of Scott's Poly S 1625-12 before seeding and during establishment to provide a good nutritional base.
You gotta start, pushing in the fertilizer for 3 weeks, and after that, start cutting down, and then cut the nitrogen, because the paspalum does not like so much. I mean, it's not good to over fertilize with nitrate in the passpalum.
The first mowing will depend on the area seeded. For putting greens, mow when the grass is 0.25 inches or 6 millimeters, and lower the mowing height slowly while maintaining canopy and coverage. The first few mowings are critical, as sea spray will grow laterally at an aggressive rate, which speeds establishment greatly.
The first cut, that we did, I remember last time was the third week, and then we mow go a half an inch, and then we move progressively to quarter of an inch until you go on to do hydro cut, decided hydro cut. Yeah, but you want growth at first, and then you cut back on nitrogen and water and things like that, and then you're in business.
Top dress greens lightly using your putting green growing mix about 4 to 6 weeks after germination, and then every 10 to 21 days. At 5 to 6 weeks, when stolons start growing rapidly, verticut or spike lightly. Do not remove too much leaf tissue, which may be detrimental to establishment. Slicing the stolons should be your primary goal.
We really have a light verticut, probably monthly, light, very light, and then with the following with light top dressing.
Top dress the greens after verticutting or spiking as well, to smooth out and provide more uniformity to the putting surface. For other turf areas that are kept at higher heights, like tees and fairways, on the golf course or on sports fields, mow for the first time when the grass is approximately 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters in height, to reduce the chance of scalping. Regular mowing encourages lateral growth and better turf coverage.
If you mow it more often, you have the less likelihood of having a scalp issue, and it just makes for a nicer looking product. So when you get into harvest mode, we really try to mow, twice a week.
And started mowing at about 2 inches with the rotary mowers just everywhere, and started bringing it down as it filled. Probably week 12 is when we really started dropping the mowing heights, and that's what really started making this grass take off. The stuff likes to go low. The lower you go, the better it seems like it performs.
In the first month, your fertilization program should emphasize potassium and phosphorus over nitrogen, with a typical NPK ratio of 1 to 2 to 3 or 1 to 3 to 4. After the first month, apply 0.3 to 0.5 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet in the nitrate form weekly until you get uniform turf coverage. You can use a granular, a liquid, or apply it through fertigation. After establishment, fertilize annually at a rate of 2 to 3 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet in early fall or spring, and do not exceed 4 pounds per year. Also, avoid applications of quick-release water-soluble nitrogen of more than 0.5 pounds per 1,000 square feet. High-index salt fertilizers work very well with sea spray, and be sure to always supply a high level of phosphorus to sea spray. In areas with levels of salt, monitor for deficiencies in calcium, magnesium, manganese, and iron. Irrigate infrequently but deeply to about 1 inch every week to 2 weeks throughout the growing season. Mow from 0.5 to 1.5 inches with a reel mower to minimize the possibility of scalping, especially in the summer. Gradually reduce the mowing height during peak growing conditions.
The lower you bring it down, we're at 400 with our fairways now. When we went from 625 to 400 on our fairways, that's when they really started taking off and looking good.
To maintain turf quality and good winter color in mild climates, aerate and top dress in early to mid-September, or early enough to allow full recovery before cooler temperatures begin. In areas where sea spray seashore paspalum would go off color due to cool temperatures, you can overseed to maintain color. Overseed after renovation and aeration programs with salt-tolerant Bright Star SLT or Salinas perennial ryegrasses at 10 to 15 pounds per 1,000 square feet for conventional turf. Sea Spray Seeded Seashore Paspalum, the warm season, salt-tolerant grassing solution, the thrives under poor soil and water conditions and eliminates issues related to sprigging. For more information about Sea Spray and to find your nearest Sea Spray dealer, visit seasprayinfo.com today.